Little early for a beer, but not really. It's almost 5 o'clock, right?
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, we're only 20 minutes away. We're doing this before the end of the workday. But video number 2. We all
Yeah.
know how the early season goes, and sometimes
Content, it comes in waves. It's there and then it's sparse, and then it's there and then it's sparse.
Well, after we did the preview show for Pulse and everything, you and I were talking about what to do next, and I was just like, man, I remember last year now, like all the hype comes out, the preview show happens for Pulse, Broken City does theirs, like groups do local shows, but there's not a lot of good content from it, and then there's this excitement. Then there was like a lull last year for almost a month before like any good usable videos came out.
And it's early, so like, you're trying to let people get like their feet under them, their hands under them a little bit. So
Right. But luckily, there's a couple short clips from, as you see in the video title, Music City Mystique from the Mount Juliet show last weekend. This is Thursday, so it would have been like 5-6 days ago last weekend. Luckily, some kids or whoever in the audience or their lot took some pretty good clips, pretty good audio, gives you a pretty good sampling of what they're doing from a battery standpoint this year. We'll revisit Mystique later on once regional happens or like mid-season when some better full ensemble videos may or may not come out, fingers crossed. But let's try and get into this quickly, but welcome everyone to Aged Out Reacts. I'm one of the hosts of the Aged Out podcast, Michael Fantini, and with me as always is
Evan Worrell.
Head over to Facebook, Instagram, give us a follow there, comment, like, subscribe here on YouTube. Let us know what you think about Mystique this year or what you're excited about for WGI 2024 or the percussion side of the activity. Patreon.com/AgedOutPodcast or the join button here on YouTube if you want to support us financially at all. All right, let's just jump right in. These videos
there's
are
not
sweet.
a ton of stuff, but there were some exciting things. So
let me switch screens here. And the first clip is like a 45-second of the bass feature and a little bit of battery after. So we'll check this out first and then keep moving.
I live with you.
All right.
Congrats.
I think.
Yeah.
Articulate.
Ooh, nice state crescendo on that. Look at
Yeah. Fast roll.
Yeah, well, let's back up, get that one more time. So
Yeah.
obviously you said it like articulate drums, the tuning, the Pearl drums, always Pearl. Love
Yep.
it.
Can't go wrong.
Not gonna hide my bias on that at all. But yeah, some of that stuff in there, just the shaping as well as the complicated splits is in there for early season.
I will preface us rewatching this same little clip with the clip we're going to watch after. From a first impression, this Mystique battery already impresses me more than the past couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Like out the
would
gate
agree
right
with
now,
that.
from a writing standpoint, the notes they're playing, like you mentioned the articulate tuning in the bass drums. I'd argue they're not even trying to hide much in the flatland, in like the flat line. Like it's just they're coming out, they're saying, here's what we are. We're playing a lot of notes this year. It's cool. There's one video of the whole show that's like a weird angle. It's not high up. You can't really read it really well.
They're
I'm
not
not
in uniform. Yeah,
putting any stake into that. But I like this so far. So let's back up. Let's get this whole little moment one more time. And then we'll move on to the last clip. Yeah.
the layering into.
I was
that
getting
with
ready to
the-
say you beat me to it. I like the layering of the flat line over top, or underneath rather.
Yeah, very solid.
It's cool.
A lot of the book too so far. I mean, it's very, very small sample size, but seems they always do a good job of writing segmentally to where things are very transparent from a
Yes.
spectator
Yes.
perspective. But a lot of this too seems like they have some more denser sections with all the battery parts.
Hmm. There's definitely more notes than I remember hearing from Mystique in this small sample. Again, we haven't heard the whole book. This could just be
Right.
the one dense section. They're repping a lot in the lot, so the videos came out. But usually, I feel like it's a pretty good sampling. Like 2 minutes of music, 2.5. It's not nothing. All right, so
Yeah.
next video, the beginning of it is just like quads, subs, or whatever, but it goes right into book. Starts in the same place, but it keeps going way farther.
in there.
Yeah. Good one counter. I think that guy likes it. I'm going to pause and back up to the beginning of the quad moment and move my face out of the way.
It's interesting, too. I feel like most of the time, and I did message him about this, too, so I'm curious to see. But I feel like most of the time they don't do the dual spots, the 6 and 8. They just have the 6. So I'll expand on that here at the end of this video when we're done. But
all right, let's get that again without my face in the way of being able to see the quads. Or at least one of the quads. Whew. Good roll.
Nice transfer up the 6-8.
Uh-huh.
Or from the 8 to the 6. And the split at the end. Split singles. Sorry, I'm talking all the way over this, but
We'll watch it again. Oh, that's freaking hard. Hold on. Back up. Let's just back up to the beginning of the quad thing again so we can get it before we move too far past it. But the way they just did that, like, I guess the scratch with the right stick on the head and then that high attack of the left hand, just isolated doubles like that, that is extremely difficult. And it sounded really good.
So, like, the show has like, some hip-hop and different genres of music and stuff. I guess it kind of gives me, like, I don't know what the 80s, 90s vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember the show title, honestly. But doing, like, the record scratch with the right hand, and then attacking with the double left. It's
tough
hard
to have the right hand pressure and just get that from a high attack, too. It's not a low attack. They're coming all the way off a visual for that.
Yeah.
So kudos. Super impressive.
Yeah, that spot roll that moves up the drums and then goes from the 8 over to the 6-inch. Pretty solid.
Yeah. This might be, I'll make this statement right now, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording. From, again, small sample, one lot, whatever, it's all we have right now to talk about. On the surface and face value right now, this might be one of the best quad lines Mystique's had in probably a lot of years.
I mean, not to speak in hyperbole, but maybe since 2011. I don't know. Hyperbole.
I will say, on the aggregate, their quad lines have not historically impressed me a ton as an audience member and a viewer. But this one's coming out really strong, and it probably might be one of the best they've had in a long time.
Yeah, playing some
all right,
sauce.
Let's get the quad moment, let it go all the way through that snare moment, and let it keep rolling.
All right.
That was a fast PDD, too, coming out of that roll. I love pearl drums.
These chichettas.
Good. Oh, little burst rolls.
Yeah.
Is Mystique playing Molar? Has that ever happened?
A challenging mix of challenging mix of stuff in their skill set. Space.
Yeah.
You know, like you talked about those little bursts of like the really tight grip pressure in the front of the hand for those closed condensed rhythms. Yeah.
A lot of re-attacks within that snare phrase and handled pretty well. It's February 3rd, whatever this was. So understandable,
yeah.
but like, yeah, it's good stuff. It's cool. I like those isolated.
A long phrase with a lot of stuff.
Very long phrase, a lot of crossovers, a lot of stuff going on. I mean,
so yeah, kind of a little, I guess, content tease moving forward too. So I talked about the 8/6-inch drum. I'll be interested to ask the decision about that, or how that conversation, or why the change, because I feel like they do typically use the 5-drum setup most of the time. But we've talked to a couple different teams, design teams, and try to get them on and just let them talk about the show and explain like what they're going for, what they hope to portray. One of which was Shane Gwaltney that we reached out with, and he's in Texas right now for TMEA, but he said he'd be interested in coming on and chatting, and so I'll be able to, hopefully pick his brain about some of these decisions and what they're doing, and, learn a little bit more about the show, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, the idea this year was to kind of get a hold of as many of them as possible. Like, we've already talked to the X design team. We talked to Shane already. Hopefully both of those recordings will happen next week, and then have those out next week and the week after. We're open to talking to Pulse design team, Broken City, RCC. If anyone, feel free to reach out to us. If any of you all are listening to this at all, or you get forwarded this video, or one of your kids tell you we're down, we'd love to just give the platform for you all to tell as the season begins. Here's how the show came about. Here's what it's about. Here's what we want the audience to take away from it. Here's what the progression from moment to moment to moment, how that plays into the concept and musical selections and all these things. So we just want to put all of that out there, because there's been too many years in the past where Evan and I both have talked to between ourselves and to friends we have in the activity. Like, we'll watch a show for half a season and go, I still have no freaking idea what's going on. I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not creative enough or artsy enough to get it, and not saying that in a negative way, that being artsy
or
is
just
bad,
some of the
but,
details that you just don't.
Yeah,
you never hear until like the end of the year or something. You're like, oh,
yep.
That makes sense.
So we want to put the open invitation out there to any other design teams of these groups to, if you want to come on and do a video with us and talk about it, we're down.
Yep.
So thanks for hanging out. Mystique coming out really strong. I think I like the battery better than I have coming out of the gate in the past many years. One of the best quad lines I think they've had in a handful of years plus. The snares are playing well. The bass line's already playing crazy with our crazy articulate tuning. Sounds great to my naive bass drum ears. It sounds good to us. I'm sure somebody might be able to break it down and get more nitpicky with things. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Comment, like, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. Hit the join button here on YouTube, and we'll see everybody in the next video.
Peace.